This is the first video I'm making for my new channel. It's called Seeds, and I'm Seeds. It's not my actual full name, but I'll get more into that down the road. Anyhow, the main focus of this YouTube channel is going to be talking about mental illness, depression, and doing so from a first-hand perspective. I've struggled with depression for well over a decade, and that was one of the biggest struggles I had, was trying to find resources where somebody actually had experienced what they were talking about, not just studied it for years and years and had so many PhDs in the subject, but actually lived it. It was one of those things where kind of how I looked at it was, if you're going to go to a extremely hostile environment, if you're going to go to war, so to speak, you don't want to talk to somebody who's studied somebody who's been to war. You want to talk to the person who's actually been in the mud and in the sand. So that's kind of this premise, is that for years and years I just avoided getting help, and the biggest reason why was because the people I saw talking about mental illness and other and mental unhappiness and depression and such really just studied it and treated things based on it. If you suffer from PTSD, or if you suffer from this disorder or that disorder, these are the steps to take place. And I always thought, well, that's absurd, because you don't even know anything about me or my pain. And yet you've already told me how I'm supposed to recover from it. So I really just spent years and years just thinking that I was never going to find any help, and that it was just going to be me taking day after day after day trying to survive it, rather than actually realizing there's something I could do to heal and to really be genuinely happy in spite of my pain and what it caused in my life. And so I want to be able to use the tools that I've found and the truth that I've found for my own pain, and use them as examples. Talk about my, I apologize, my kids are downstairs and it's quite loud. Anyhow, but I just want to talk about how I've been able to bounce back. Like I said, there's a good 5 year stretch where I didn't think I was capable of being happy yet. I thought I was something where I had to hide my pain and simply just try to ignore it during the day when I was with my loved ones and with my family and doing events. But I found that it actually ended up taking over my life and really making me forget how to be genuinely happy, and be genuinely happy without denying my pain and denying it existed and the effects that it had on my life. Just to go over it, I'm going to expand in a different episode about the elements of my pain, and there's so much to it that I found. But where my journey of pain started was back in 2005, following my twin brother and my 20th birthday. My twin brother was killed in action serving in the Marine Corps in Iraq, and it just had an immense impact on my life. Like I said, it just really made me think I can never really ever be happy. And over the years, I found that to actually not be true. But there's just so many pitfalls in so many areas that are discouraging, and that's one thing I learned, was that you don't need to have, try after effort of reaching out to people before you get discouraged. You just need a handful of experiences to really just put a bad taste in your mouth and give you that sense of hopelessness that no one can help you and you can't help you. And that's an extremely lonely feeling. I know that in the last few years, mental awareness and mental health has been discussed more and more, which has been good. But I also think that it's the same concept as a lot like counseling, where we're talking about our problems more and more, but I'm not necessarily saying any more understanding. So we're actually, I think, doing ourselves a disservice, because we've looked at our pain with a much more accurate and much more honest view, but we don't have any tools or any understanding on how to heal those pain. And so we're actually worse off, because we have the awareness, but we don't have any real understanding, real knowledge on how to truly heal. And not just to have little tricks of how to calm down or how to deal with our anxiety, but just genuinely, where's that balance between knowledge in our pain and understanding our pain, and embracing our pain, and also not letting it control our lives. Because for myself, for the years and years that I suppressed my pain, it started coming out involuntarily, and I didn't realize how I allowed it to change how I looked at things, how I viewed get-togethers, whether they're public or with my family. And it really just, I missed out on a lot of years of good memories that could have been. And I was just so terrified of the pain that could be coming and that I expected. And that was one of the challenges that I faced too, was years after my twin brother was killed, another extremely traumatic event took place in my life, and it really shook my optimism, my trust in life, that it could be happy, because I had bounced back. I had been able to kind of put my life back together and start a family and get married, and was really kind of heading in that back to the light. And I just got my feet kicked out from underneath me, and that was when I entered that 5 year span of just being like, I'm not gonna ever be happy again. I'm never gonna know what it feels like to genuinely be happy without extreme effort, like I said, without suppressing what was really underneath. And so I've been able to put my life back together mentally. I've been able to figure out how to not deny my pain while at the same time allow it to live and exist. And I know it's such a hard process, and there's so much to it. A lot of times, we just want to kind of put our head down. And like I said, one of the things that I did for many years was I thought, well, I was told that time heals all things. So I just told myself, all right, in 5 years or in 10 years, I'll be happy. And until that point, I'm just going to get through every day. And I realized that wasn't the case without putting the work in and without understanding it and having knowledge about my pain and how it impacted my view on life and on others, on creating relationships and maintaining relationships. Without it, my pain, I say, destroyed a lot of relationships, and destroyed a lot of my faith in my relationships and my happiness and in my family and outside my family. And I really alienated myself from people that have been in my life for my whole life, or for a good portion of it. And yeah, so it pains me because as time goes on, we all generally go through a lot of traumatic pain. And so I've seen what happened to myself and what happened to my family. And I see kind of fresh pain, in the last year, in the last month, or the last few years, where I know people have gone through their own traumatic events, and it hurts me, because I'm terrified that they're gonna go down the same path that I did, and that a lot of my family members did, where it really just adds to your pain rather than healing it. It actually magnifies it to where the pain I'm dealing with now, that I'm facing, is far more significant than the pain I initially was having to deal with. And yet, especially when it first happens, and the year or 2 years after that, you're really in such a raw state that you aren't capable of it. And so it's really just a matter of allowing yourself that time to just kind of be taken back, and just to focus on breathing and embracing your pain, but also to not let that carry on too many years. I don't think there's necessarily a magic number, but certainly I would say after the first 2 or 3, to really start putting a push to, all right, I need to learn how to understand my pain and how to heal it properly, not just simply how to cope or how to, one of the biggest things that I found with myself and with others that I see is escapism, which inherently there's nothing wrong with escapism. It's just, distracting yourself from reality. Video games or alcohol or whatever. It's just, wanting to check out and just kind of embrace the moment. There's nothing wrong with that, but especially with somebody who's suffering from mental unhappiness, that can be extremely dangerous, because once you find something that makes you feel happiness to that extent that it helps you escape, it's very easy to want to just fall into a rut of that as your life. Escapism becomes your life. And that's, what I did for many years, and it took many forms. But I realized that made it worse. That made it to where I didn't want to deal with my pain, because of more and more I escaped, more and more my pain seemed insurmountable. So again, it's just, those are the types of subjects that I'm going to sort of start talking about: is escapism, alienating yourself, while the people around you may internally, or not internally, but unintentionally or intentionally, seek to alienate you. So it's just a matter of really becoming aware of all these things, rather than just letting them hit you when they hit you, because that's really what makes, or one of the things that makes mental illness, and trying to correct its damages and its effects, just feel like there's no point, because it seems like every time you turn a page, there's just that much more added to your pile that you have to get through. Every time you take a step, there's 2 steps back, and so there's a sense of, I don't want to take any steps, because at least I won't ever go back. If I take 1 step forward, I'll go 2 steps back, and so it just really discourages you, and almost makes you think that by doing nothing, you're doing more than actually doing something. So that's really, the direction I want to go, is I want to talk about, my pain, the gruesome details that it took on me, and then just understanding what those details mean, rather than just saying that looking at it isn't going to accomplish anything. Well, if you look at it and then you find truths, if you find understanding, if you realize truths about yourself, like, hey, when I'm in these circumstances, I'm not happy. It triggers my depression, and so should I avoid it, or is there a way I can mentally put it to the side and deal with it once the Christmas party is over, or once the birthday party is over, or whatever the event may be. It's just, I'd hate for people to miss out on those memories that you could create. That down the road you'll look back and smile, and it'll bring you happiness. Just the fact that you're happy, it'll uplift you. The fact that you were able to move. I don't want to say move beyond your pain, but just move forward with your pain. That's probably the better way to put it. So that's what this channel is going to focus on, is just my own pain, and it's going to branch off into how that pain affected me, and then how I was able to, bounce back and make sense of my life and be able to heal. Because it was just one of those things where, one of the things for many years was just simply, what is my calling? I've spent years and years, wallowing in my pain, or lost in my pain, or whatever you want to describe it as. And that's one thing I realized, was I spent years and years and years analyzing my pain, analyzing how it affected me, analyzing what hurt, why it hurt, and then what I could do to make it, not hurt as less. But it's one of those things where I would say that this summer, it's going to be 15 years since my twin brother was killed. And the thing about it is, it felt like it happened yesterday, and it felt like it happened eternity ago. It feels like I haven't spoken to my brother in just far too long. But at the same hand, I have that deep emotion I had the second that I realized he had been killed. And so that's the thing, is I realized that our pain is really unique to ourselves and the ones that we lost. And so it would make sense that a key factor in trying to heal that pain would be found in us, and in the relationship we had and what we've lost, rather than in a textbook that was written far beyond, or far before our pain even existed. And so I'm hoping I can help as many people as I can. That's really kind of what my mission is that I want to help people close to me, help people that have met me in passing, that people that know people I know, and then just complete strangers. I personally believe that there are far more people suffering from mental unhappiness and depression in our country than are seeking help. I wouldn't be shocked if that number was 10 times that of actual people who have sought help. And of those people who are seeking help, I'm sure that a huge percentage of that, their pain is still going unhealed, or at the very least, it's still there's still significant pain underneath it, just because of how the process is, how it's. And to me, I think mental illness is extremely misunderstood by society, by those who suffer from it, and those who observe people who suffer from it. And so I'm hoping to be able to be a part of the healing process, or the correction process, of really getting a grasp on this is what we need to do to heal our own pain. Because to me, I think the people who have the most knowledge and understand their pain the most are the people who have suffered most. And I'm not certainly saying that I've suffered most, but my pain is pretty significant, and the details of my pain are pretty significant. So I'll be talking a little more about that in the next video. But I hope that I can help. I hope I can help as many people as I can. And if this is something you find interesting, please subscribe to my channel so that I'll branch out and reach more people. And please tell people that that if you know somebody who's suffering, just to kind of give a heads up on the brief description. It doesn't have to be, hey, I know you're going through this. It just needs a matter of, hey, you might find this channel interesting, and leave it at that, and let them decide, for themselves. But yes, I hope I can heal. I hope I can. Say good luck and good night.